Let's talk about blind baking pie crust. So what is blind baking? Blind baking refers to par baking the crust before you put any filling in it. Before you blind bake, you want to make sure you start with a frozen pie shell. This is super important. It's going to help it maintain its shape. The first thing that you need to decide is what you want to use as your pie weights. Personally, I like to use rice. And the reason that I like rice is because it is a very small grain and it's able to get into all of the nooks and crannies of my pie shell, which is super important for helping the crust maintain its shape. Another option would be to use dried beans. And these are also really great. My only thing about them is that the more you use them, the more they start to kind of stink like burned bean. So I just don't use them and I just use the same rice over and over again and I find that it doesn't stink. And then also you can of course just buy dedicated pie weights. The next thing you want to think about is how you want to hold the pie weights inside of the shell. My favorite is to take some parchment paper, crumple it up, and then lay it down into the pie shell. The reason you crumple it up is it helps it lay flat and up against all the walls and floor of the pie shell evenly. And then another choice is to use aluminum foil, which I don't like as much just because it's more likely to end up with a jagged edge that's going to poke a hole in your pie crust, and that would just kind of suck. So into your frozen pie shell goes your liner of choice, and then into that goes your pie weight of choice. And you're just going to pat it down nice and even and make sure it is touching all of the walls of the pie. Then you're going to stick it in the oven, and each pie recipe might have different instructions on how to do this, so just follow the timing instructions for that. Take it out, and then I like to have a bowl on one side, and I lift up the parchment paper very carefully not to spill anything, and I put that with all the pie weights into the bowl. And what you want to look for is you want the floor of your pie shell to look dry. If it looks greasy or wet, it's not ready yet, and you need to put the pie weights back in and put it back in the oven. That's super important. Any area that isn't dry is going to puff up, and that's exactly why the pie weights are there. They prevent the pie dough from puffing up and creating air bubbles between the pie and the pan. So once you have a dry bottom, now you're just going to take the pie weights, set them aside, put the pie shell back in naked until you get a little bit more browning on the bottom. It's never going to be quite as brown as the rim since the rim was exposed to the heat directly for the longest time. But you're going to get a little bit of browning on it, a little bit more crispness, and then you're going to take it out to let it cool. For more kitchen tips and tricks, go ahead and give me a follow. And check out my Substack, The Stove and All, where you can get all of the recipes, tips, tricks, and stories fully written down for you. I hope to see you there.